Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Hollywood Rack's CrossTrack bike rack for 2 bikes and see how it works with our 2024 Nissan Rogue. Now, a Hitch Bike Rack is an excellent way to transport your bike to and from the trail. It's a great alternative to, say, a rooftop bike rack that could be a bit difficult getting your bike up and down from there, especially with some of those heavier bikes like the e-bikes that are out there on the market today. The types of bikes that this is going to be able to accommodate for you are going to be bikes up to 66 pounds per tray. It'll accommodate wheelbases up to 52 inches, tires up to 4 inches wide, and wheel diameters up to 29 inches. Now, as far as how it fits here with our Rogue, we've got a ton of space back here behind the vehicle. There's a big gap here that we could easily fit in, and honestly, normally this, I would think this is no problem. Even when I'm shaking it like this, if I'm on a really rough road, we're really in no danger of anything making contact with the back of the vehicle. However, like with any platform bike rack, we are going to have some obstruction to some of our visibility when it comes to having the rack on. So out of our rear view window, we're going to be able to see the bike seat and the handlebars. We're going to have some obstruction of our tail lights for the other drivers, along with some obstruction of our license plate and our rear view camera. So it is really important to understand just what kind of footprint this is leaving behind the vehicle. So from the furthest point of the bike rack to the bumper, this is going to add about 33 inches to the back of the vehicle. So keep in mind, you've almost got 3 extra feet back here that you're going to have to account for when you're backing into a tighter space or trying to parallel park. We're also going to take a look at our ground clearance from the furthest point of the rack, and that's going to come in just under 16 inches. And normally I'd say that's enough not to worry too much about some of those steeper inclines or driveways, but due to the fact that this is a bit further out off of the bumper, you definitely want to keep that in mind. Now, I had also mentioned that this will accommodate bikes up to 66 pounds. So let's take a look at just what kind of height the tray is sitting at off the ground. So from the furthest tray, we're looking at a ground clearance of 19 inches. And from our nearest tray, it's going to be about 18 inches. So if whatever your bike weighs, if you're not comfortable getting it up and down from that height, there is a loading ramp available for the Hollywood Rack's CrossTrack, and it's available right here at etrailer.com. It can attach from either end of either tray, so it's going to be very accommodating when you need to load those heavy bikes. Now, as far as some extra features that are going to come with the CrossTrack, there is this loop here, and that is for your 8-foot cable lock that is included. That is definitely long enough to wrap through both bikes and through this loop and secure your bikes onto the rack when you're away. And it's also going to be key to our locking hitch pin. And that is going to be what secures the bike rack into your hitch. So it's a great anti-theft measure all around for this bike rack. Now, one of the most common questions that we get when it comes to a hitch platform bike rack is, will I have access to my cargo area? And the answer is yes. However, I want to give a little bit of a perspective. The bike we have on here today is a small frame. However, it has rather large wheels and handlebars. The handlebars are at 14.5 inches, and the tire diameter from here to the edge of the tire goes to 29 inches. So just to give you a little bit of perspective, because with this bike on here, when we tilt it away, it comes very close. In order to tilt it away, we're going to reach down, bracing the bike, we're going to reach down, pull back on this handle, and lower it away from the back of the vehicle. At this point, we can get our lift gate open. However, take note, it comes within about a half an inch of the edge of these handlebars. So if your bike is smaller than this one, I don't think you're going to have too much of an issue. Otherwise, though, just bear it in mind. You may or may not get that full access. But with this we can, so we can get in here, swap out our equipment, do whatever we need to do, or maybe on the way home from the trail, we need to stop and get groceries. We can get in and out of here without removing the bike from the bike rack. And in order to get it back into its riding position, we don't need to re-engage with the handle. All we need to do is brace the bike and lift up until we hear that click. Now it's locked up into its riding position, and we're ready to drive off with it. And loading and unloading your bike off the rack is a really simple process as well. Hollywood Racks does a good job of keeping the important points on the rack very visible. So you'll see the red buttons, you'll see the red attachments for the ramp, and it's just, you know, in those low light conditions, it just makes it really easy to use. But what we're going to do to start is we're going to go ahead and depress our red button. It's going to release our clamp from the back, and we're going to slide this all the way down and out of the way, especially if we have the ramp attachment, because we're going to need that clearance to hook that on and actually be able to use it. Next, I'll come up here to the front of the bike, and I'm going to hold on to the frame, because once this releases, the only thing that's holding it up is going to be me. I'm going to depress that button. We're going to release that tire. We don't have to let this all the way down unless we're putting the ramp out to that side. And at this point, I could either roll it down the ramp or simply lift it off and either hit the trail or store it away. And just to demonstrate what I meant by holding it on with kind of a clamp mount, these are ratcheting, so they're really easy to put together and kind of squeeze and tighten down on the wheels to secure your bike to the rack. Now, this is a powder-coated steel. It's a rather heavy bike rack, weighing in at over 60 pounds. So it's probably not something that you're going to want to install and remove from your hitch too often. That can get a little bit cumbersome. Luckily, it does have a stowaway position. We are going to go ahead and engage our handle again. And this time, instead of letting it drop like the tilt-away, we're going to lift it all the way up into this vertical position, and it's going to go flat against the bumper. And this is actually a really, really tight fit in here, and I'm happy with that because the whole idea is to get rid of a lot of that footprint that it's leaving behind the vehicle, making it difficult to fit in those tighter spaces. Now, with it in this upright position, we did get regained visibility out of our rear window. Other drivers are going to see our taillights without a problem. However, we are covering up our license plate, and we are definitely covering up our rear view camera. So even though this is significantly reduced from when it was deployed, we still want to take a look at it and understand what we've got going on back here. And if we go to the furthest point of the rack, which is going to be the end of this knob right here, we're looking at about 9.5 inches. So keep in mind, you're not going to be seeing out of your rear view camera with it in this position. So just remember that you've got a little bit extra back here that you're going to have to account for. But one of the really cool features of the CrossTrack that you don't find in a lot of racks out there is the ability to get into your lift gate without fully deploying the rack. Most bike racks out there, if you don't have a bike on it and you're driving around in this position, if you want to get into your cargo area, you would have to set it all the way flat. With the CrossTrack, they actually have a setting kind of right in the middle of that there, so you don't have to lower it all the way down in order to get access into your cargo area. So the CrossTrack has a lot of great features for any bike rider, whether you're a casual rider or an enthusiast. I think it works really, really well with the Rogue. I like how tight it fits against the vehicle without actually allowing the bike to interfere with it too much. Do remember to keep in mind the size of your bike when it comes to the cargo area and the fall-away position for it. Depending on the size of the handlebars and the size of the bike, you might be cutting it very, very close in that instance. But if after watching this video, you decide that the CrossTrack is the bike rack for you and your Nissan Rogue, you get it, you're able to use it a few times, please share with us what you think about it in the comments below. We would love to share your experience with other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. Once again, this is Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.